Alright guys, welcome back to the channel and more WWE 2K17 news, as I have literally just got back from New York where I spent the best part of a week with 2K, and while I'm absolutely shattered, it's Tuesday and that means it's time for week 4 of the WWE 2K17 roster reveal, which includes some brand new superstars who make their debut in this year's game. So this week's roster reveal includes Alberto Del Rio, Big Cass, Big Show, Bray Wyatt, Brock Lesnar, Carmella, Chad Gable, Darren Young, Dash Wilder, Diamond Dallas Page, Earthquake, Enzo Amore, Goldberg, Jason Jordan, JBL, Mark Henry, Page, Razor Ramon, Ric Flair, Rusev, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Sasha Banks, Scott Dawson, Sheamus, The Miz, Titus O'Neil, Typhoon, and Zack Ryder. So that's 29 more names revealed this week to go with the 76 names that we've had announced over the past 3 weeks, taking this year's roster count up to a whopping 105 superstars, and we've still got one more week of reveals to come, therefore we should be looking at around 130 superstars in this year's game. Now, as far as this week's reveals go, there's some surprise additions. Starting with NXT, we'll have the surprise inclusion of the Revival, Dash Dawson and Scott Wilder, alongside American Alpha, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. So both those teams make their debut this year, as does former Women's Champion, the Boss, Sasha Banks, as well as SmackDown star Carmella, who joins Enzo and Cass on this year's roster, alongside the surprise addition of Scott Hall, who's actually included as Razor Ramon. Also making a return to the series this year, we'll have Alberto Del Rio after he returned too late to be included last year, and we'll also have the main game roster debut of Samoa Joe, who was of course DLC in the last game. So it's a really good mix of names this week, especially with American Alpha and the Revival, as they're two teams that 2K could easily have included in the Season Pass as part of an NXT DLC pack, but instead we're actually getting them on the disc. As for everyone else, the majority are current day stars alongside some of the returning legends from last year, so there's not many more surprises there, but let's take a look at this week's Suplex City census image where we can reveal all of this week's clues. First up, I have a mannequin wearing Alberto Del Rio's scarf. Then there's the Bada Bing Boom Room nightclub, which represents Enzo Amore and Big Cass. We've got Big Show's really big and really tall menswear store, which also contains a second mannequin with JBL's hat. We'll have what appears to be Sister Abigail representing Bray Wyatt, a broken Brock Lesnar statue which appears to have fallen due to an earthquake. Then we've got Carmella's lattes representing the Princess of Staten Island, Carmella. We've got two American Alpha flags for Chad Gable and Jason Jordan, two Witness the Revival signs for Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, Diamond Dallas jewellery for Diamond Dallas Page, Goldberg's gym representing this year's pre-order bonus star, and we'll have a Hall of Pain logo on one of the buildings for Mark Henry. We've also got a Great Britain flag featuring Paige's logo for the Anti-Diva. We've got Razor Ramon's chains and Sasha Banks' legit boss jewellery inside DDP's store. A limo with "Woo" on the number plate for the jet-flying, limousine-riding nature boy, Ric Flair. We've got a Bulgarian flag for Rusev. The Bro Kick Saloon that was seen in last year's trailer for Sheamus. An upside-down WWE logo on the interview microphone for The Miz. A Primetime Players Diamond logo representing Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, and a mini Typhoon for Typhoon himself. Finally, we also have a band poster for the Woo Woo Woos representing Long Island IC Zack Ryder. Also hidden in there somewhere, we'll have clues for both Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe, but I was actually unable to find those, so if you can find them, let me know about it in the comments. Let's move on to this week's screenshots then, as we start things off with the man who returns to the series this year in Alberto Del Rio, who is someone I think looks 100 times better than he did when he last appeared in WWE 2K15, and I'll actually put an image of that up on the screen so you can compare it. As you can see, 2K15's Del Rio looked miles off, but the face on 2K17 looks so much better, and he also doesn't have those huge diaper style trunks that he had in 2K15. The second of this week's screenshots reveals the first shot of one of SmackDown's newest ladies in the Princess of Staten Island, Carmella, who's looking hot as hell, and you can't teach that. But you can model it, as she sports a leopard print and black attire that'll go perfectly alongside Enzo and Cass, who I'm hoping actually all three have a tag team entrance in the game that comes complete with their mic intros. Speaking of Enzo and Cass and mic intros, here we'll have the man himself, the Smack Talker Skywalker, Enzo Amore. So this looks really cool. I really like this attire. I just hope his pants don't have realistic physics on them, because if they do, there is no way that those are going to stay up. But the attire looks really good. We've got Bada Boom, we've got a couple of ladies on there, updated chains, and best of all, updated hair, which looks way better than it did last year. Next up is the current WWE World Champion Dean Ambrose, who's another superstar to be rescanned for the game, and who also features updated hair this year to give him more of a lunatic fringe, as he makes his way down to ringside with a WWE Championship around his waist, which actually looks to fit pretty well underneath the jacket, which is something that I think has been a bit of a problem in past years, so hopefully that's now been fixed for everyone, including creations. Moving on, I'll have another champion, or at least a former champion in Samoa Joe, as we're making his entrance here as the NXT champion, where he comes complete with his towel around his neck, as he makes his way down to ringside in the NXT arena, although this model doesn't look too much different from the DLC model that we got in 2K16, but that's not really an issue, as I think the captured Joe perfectly last year, so all they've really had to do this year was update the shorts from the old red and black to the current green and black colours. Up next comes the Celtic Warrior Sheamus, who we see here making his entrance in the old Raw arena, with Sheamus updated to feature his new black attire and current beard that no longer has the beads hanging from it. This next shot gives us two more superstars who make their debut this year, as well as the RevELLE's Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson making their way to ringside, complete with entrance attires, and like I said earlier, it's so good to have these guys included in the main game instead of 2K holding out to release them as DLC, as they're a team that I think a lot of people will be looking forward to using, especially after the show and a takeover last week, as the RevELLE are really helping to revive the tag team wrestling scene, and we've got plenty of great teams to pit them against this year, with the likes of American Alpha also in the game. This next screenshot came as a bit of a surprise, as we'll have Scott Hall in the game, but he's actually in as Razor Ramon, which is a pretty cool decision, as it allows for some of the older guys and older gimmicks, alongside some classic arenas, as you can see the old school WWE logo on the banner behind Razor, so it looks like we're going to be getting a good mix of arenas this year also, as we already know WrestleMania 31 is in the game, so without a proper showcase or a proper theme this year, it looks as though we'll have different arenas spread across all different eras. This week's final screenshot is by far my favourite, as we finally get to see the boss, Sasha Banks, as she comes kitted out with a full entrance attire, which I think looks absolutely awesome. We've got the jacket, which looks good, we've got the legit boss jewellery and the glasses, which, to be critical, I do think looks slightly big, but her model looks awesome. You can totally tell there's been a lot of time spent on this to get right, and it has definitely paid off. So that's this week's screenshots. Let's move on to this week's entrance video as we get our first look at this year's pre-order bonus Goldberg and the accompanying WCW Monday Nitro arena that is also part of the pre-order DLC.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring. From Atlanta, Georgia, weighing in at 280 pounds, Goldberg!
This superstar has really been focused on winning as of late, and it's really paying off. Let's see if he can get another one here. And I can't wait to see these two square off in one-on-one action.
So there you go, that is Bill Goldberg's entrance in WWE 2K17. How awesome is that? It's so cool having that backstage intro, especially with the cops to accompany him. Although, with us having two versions of Goldberg, I guess we'll probably see an alternate version without them, like we did in 2K14, which you can actually see a comparison of at the end of this video. One thing I will say though is I have no idea why 2K have put the classic WWE logo on the screen in the corner, as obviously this is the WCW arena, so hopefully that gets fixed in the final version. Anyway guys, that is all for today's video, but let me know your thoughts on all of today's news, including this week's reveals, screenshots, and Goldberg's entrance. Let me know what you think of it all in the comments, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more WWE 2K17 news, as I'll be covering everything from the past week while I was away in the coming days, along with my thoughts on the game after I got to try it, and I've also got some news on abilities, skills, OMG moments, and superstar ratings, so make sure to stick around for those. Until next time though, I hope you all have an awesome day, and I'll leave you with a comparison of Goldberg's entrance in WWE 2K17 versus 2K14. I'll catch you later.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring. From Atlanta, Georgia, weighing in at 280 pounds, Goldberg!
This superstar has really been focused on winning as of late, and it's really paying off. Let's see if he can get another one here. And I can't wait to see these two square off in one-on-one action.